Wow, Redeemer, it's hard to believe 3 years into the life of this church, and so much has happened over these last 3 years. When I think back on all that God has done, we've just been blessed with so much grace, an abundance of grace in this community. Throughout the last 3 years, we've celebrated 40 baptisms, with counting the two that we'll celebrate today. We've had 110. We currently have 110 covenant members of the church, and many more folks involved with us. From those two community groups, the start of the church, we've multiplied to where we have 10 community groups gathering throughout the city, in homes, meeting throughout the week. And God continues to just build His people here.
Over the last year, it's kind of hard to describe exactly everything that Redeemer has helped me to learn and to grow, but I think ultimately I've really learned what it's like to live in community with other believers and be on mission for Jesus.
Redeemer has meant a lot to me. I haven't had any church background before I came to Redeemer and came to Saving Faith and got baptized and just found my first Christian community, and that's meant the world to me.
Being a part of the Redeemer family has really impacted my life. I've grown up going to church, but it wasn't until I was welcomed into Redeemer that the gospel really solidified itself in my heart.
When I first came to Redeemer, I was far from God, but God used Redeemer to restore my relationship with Him and also to give me a new perspective on what church can be. So to me, Redeemer Church means restoration.
Redeemer has meant so much to me over the past 3 or 4 years. Being here in the beginning, it's been cool to see it grow, but more importantly, it's been really cool to realize what I was missing and just the community aspect of church. It truly has redefined what the church means to me and how integral it is in our walk with Christ.
Being part of Redeemer was a time that really taught me how to be part of a community, the need that every Christian, just every human needs, to have people around them that will support them and love them. So my move to Arizona was made so much easier knowing that I needed to find a church as soon as I could to be part of a community so that people could lead me back to the gospel when I forget about it. People that would encourage me in ways, in a place that I could serve to my best ability and to the glory of God in a local church.
The part I've appreciated most with Redeemer is the community and getting to know some people, enter someone's home, study the scripture from that week, go over the sermon in depth. You've got people in that group that you get to know and love, and people that can come alongside you during good times and bad times and share in that experience and help you through those times. I've just really appreciated getting to know everyone that we've met through the service and in our community groups.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about Redeemer is that everything is gospel-centered. So when you go into something, you know that Jesus is going to be the center of it. And when we invite people, we know that they're going to hear the gospel. And when I bring my children, I know that they're going to hear the gospel.
To give you a little picture of just the growth and how God has moved over these past few years. January 2012, we began gathering the initial just kind of launch team, core group, whatever you want to call it, in my living room. About 20 people gathered around my living room, and that was the start of Redeemer Community Church. From that place, we next couple weeks, we actually added a few more folks, got to a place where my living room was feeling a little cramped. It's really not that big, so we were able to find an office here in town at a warehouse just on the south side of town that welcomed us in for free and gave us a little bit more room to grow and continue to develop the church moving forward. We continued to meet there through that summer until we got to about 40 or so folks coming and worshiping on Sundays. We started 2 community groups at that point to begin the church. And then when we were ready to multiply to a third group, we moved down the street here to the Banneker Community Center, and we publicly launched September 9th, 2012, with our first kind of public worship gathering, and we've just kind of seen God move and grow us from there.
I guess in the last year, the way that being a part of Redeemer and having the gospel just, being fused in everything that we do, the way that it's transformed me is, it just made me completely focused on not only being a part of this body, but being on mission with this body and being far more focused outwardly.
I first heard about Redeemer from Annie Seco. She was in my kitchen, and she said she was part of this plant church. And I'm like, tell me what's the deal with this plant church? And I mean, why do we need another church? And she's like, well, can't really explain it. I'm like, okay, Maddie. I'm gonna go check out your church. So Dave and I, we checked out this church, and we found that they preached the gospel every single Sunday. And so we started attending, and then we joined, and then we were the oldest members, and we've been attending for the last couple of years. And the question I was asked, well, how has Redeemer changed me? Redeemer hasn't changed me, but the gospel has changed me. Hearing the gospel preached every single week has changed me. I am more aware of my sin. I have a heart that I don't want to sin anymore. I have community of people that are speaking into me and helping me with that. I've been in church all my life, but I've not been in gospel-centered community, and there's nothing like it.
1 Peter 2:9 says, "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." But that's who we are, a gospel-centered community on mission. That we would be just centered on that good news of the gospel, that Jesus has called us out of darkness into his marvelous light, that we might join him on mission to our city to proclaim his goodness, to proclaim his grace, that he might through us continue to build his kingdom here in Bloomington and beyond.